Miss Capaldi, and I'm the psychology teacher at Chichester High School. I'm here to tell you a little bit about what psychology is and what you can expect to study at A-level. Is psychology just common sense or intuition? In a way, that statement is correct. Psychology is basically the study of human behaviour, and quite often human behaviour is common sense or intuition. What psychology attempts to do is create a science behind this to try and predict behaviours as well as to support theories. Like all sciences, it is a process, and in this instance, a process that enables us to get a closer understanding of the world, and more specifically us, the people that make up the world. Psychology is a very broad subject and can lead to many different career paths. Because it's based around people and human behaviour, it can lend itself to careers such as marketing and things like well-being, mental health therapies, as well as educational psychology, clinical psychology. What you'll be studying in year one. If you choose to study A-level psychology, we will first be looking at approaches. We start with approaches because this topic gives us a very good understanding and a very good base knowledge of the different psychologists that from past and present that have given us wonderful theories that can attempt to explain behaviour. For example, the behaviourist approach suggests that all behaviour is learnt through the environment, so through our nurture, things like our upbringing, our friendship groups, what we do at school, even down to where we live. The behaviourist approach all believe that these things contribute to our behaviour. We also look at the biological approach. This is on the other end of the spectrum and assumes that all behaviour derives from nature, so our biology. We look at things like neurotransmitters, we look at things like genetics and our DNA and how they can inform behaviour. The second topic we look at is research methods. As I've said, psychology is a science. So we attempt to study human behaviour and we learn about the different experiments and the different research that people use in order to do this. We also conduct a little bit of our own experiments. We also look at social influence. Social influence is just about why we do the things we do. Why do we conform? Why do we wear the clothes we wear? Why do we listen to the music we listen to? Why do we obey authority? We look at different theories around this, and we try and look at it through famous experiments such as the Zimbardo experiment, where people were put into prison to see how they would behave. This is a very interesting topic and gives us a really good insight into conformity and why we choose the people that we choose to be around and how they influence us. Fourth topic we're going to be looking at is memory. So memory doesn't instantly jump out as something that affects behaviour, but in actual fact it really does. So memory and loss of memory definitely influence our behaviour. Here we look at studies of the brain, we look at different case studies, such as a man who has only a 7-second memory and how this affects his behaviour and how it can influence all of us. We look at attachment, and this looks at children and the attachments they have with their parents. We look at the theories of Bowlby to try and understand how our initial crucial first few years of our life can influence our childhood as well as our later relationships. We also look at psychopathology. This looks at mental health issues surrounding people. This is a very prevalent topic, given the understanding we now have about mental health. Within this topic, we look at OCD and try and understand the explanations for OCD. We also look at depression and we look at phobias. We also consider biopsychology. So biopsychology lends itself to the biological approach. We look at different areas of the brain and how these influence our behaviour. We also look at our genetics and our DNA and things like that to understand how our familial traits, so our inherited things from our family, can influence us. Going on to study in year 2, we look at issues and debates. Within psychology, we never say that we can prove anything. Humans are completely unique. So theories and experiments can only support or refute. They can't 100% prove because we are all who we are. This leads itself very likely to issues and debates. Okay, there are very many issues around psychological research, ethical issues, as well as debates between the nature and nurture debate. So is our behaviour deriving from our biological input, i.e. our parents, or does it come from our environment? We also look at cognitive development. In this topic, we look at how children learn and the differences in their learning depending on their age. This is very informative as to understand people's behaviour going forward into their adult lives. Schizophrenia is a very popular topic that we cover. Schizophrenia is a mental health disorder. We look at this and try and gain some understanding as to how it arises, why it arises, and the treatments surrounding it. And lastly, we look at addiction. Addiction is a very prevalent subject for today's lives, whether that be addiction to social media as well as addiction to cigarettes or alcohol or drugs. We cover all of these areas of addiction within this topic, which makes for very interesting learning. Here are some links. The first link, Simply Psychology, gives you a deeper understanding of each topic. This is a really great website for anybody thinking about studying A-level at psychology. It gives you a really in-depth understanding in a really nice, easy way to read if you're wanting to find out more. The second link is just from a student who can tell you the 8 things that you can expect from studying A-level psychology. If you would like to know any more information, please feel free to contact me on my email address. I hopefully look forward to seeing you all next year.